Hello guys, and welcome back to the channel. So now guys, he would have liked to have retired a long time ago, but the state that the Nigerian nation is in is not enabling him to do this. Professor Wole Soyinka, of course, guys, I bring you this. President Buhari not in charge of Aso Rock, says Professor Soyinka. So he has felt the need to weigh in again on matters Nigerian. So again, the headline, President Buhari not in charge of Aso Rock, says Professor Soyinka. So now let's now see how the prof is describing this. Nobel laureate Professor Wole Soyinka says he does not believe that President Muhammadu Buhari is in charge of Nigeria. Soyinka made the comment on Thursday, June the 4th, in an interview with Plus TV Africa. His comment was in reaction to an open letter written to President Buhari by Colonel Umar Dangiwa, retired, a former military administrator of Kaduna State. Dangiwa had accused the president of nepotism, especially as regards to his appointment. Professor Soyinka is insistent that President Buhari is not in charge of the country. Asked what his thoughts were on the open letter, Soyinka said, "Well, my first reaction was thank goodness people like Umar, who have a tendency to hit the nail hard and go to the point factually without self-interest. It struck me when I saw this and I was appalled. But I said to myself, why should I be surprised that such an atrocity has been going on? I think those who are responsible for this criminal lopsidedness should be punished. It is not sufficient just to discuss it. It is criminal. I have said this before. I don't believe there is really anybody in charge in Aso Rock. I am sorry to say this. I have been studying the trend over the past year and a half, and I believe this president is not in charge of this nation. And I believe this president is not in charge of this nation in so many aspects and directions. I am convinced he's not really and totally with it." So he is not really and totally with it, of course, is dementia that is talking about. You know that everybody is of the thought that the middle stages of senility is fully vested now within the Buhari being, because of course is an elderly old man, 80-something-year-old man who has a very severe illness, so he shouldn't really be in charge of Nigeria. But this is where we find ourselves, and this is what Professor Wole Soyinka is speaking to. He continues, "It is so serious. It is not the fact alone. We know the history of this. We know what it has cost the nation, and we know it isn't over yet. And you say you are launching an inquiry. That's not enough. This man is not in charge." Soyinka also decried the silence of the presidency on the issues that Giwa raised, adding that it creates a sense of impunity. So impunity, of course, is not even a sense of impunity anymore that we're talking about in Nigeria. Impunity is as a matter of right, because there are a clique of people who are above the law and they do as they will, and if you try to challenge them, that might well be the last thing you do on this planet. We all know them virtually by names, the usual suspects, the cabal and the clique and the gang. They are mostly northerners and they are above the law, to the point that even to speak up, you read constantly of journalists being jailed for criticizing the president. I'm not going to mention Sowore this time around. We already know that case, but it's not just the only one. Sowore is just the poster boy for that particular repression that is going on within the Nigerian state. So what Wole Soyinka is now saying is an open secret really within the Nigerian state, because nobody of any IQ level of above up to 2 digits, nobody with a 2-digit IQ level is of the thought that Malam Buhari is in charge of Nigeria. How can he be? With his state of health, both mentally and physically? Of course, he's not in charge of Nigeria. The people in charge of Nigeria, the person in charge of Nigeria actually was Abakari, but you know he's now deceased. So now is free for all now. I think Boss Mustafa is now trying to take that slot now. Of course, Yemi Oshibanjo has completely been, it's just been washed aside, it's just brushed off. So now it's a free for all, really. It's just like a scramble to grab as much as they can in the build up to 2023, in the hope that Buhari can just be maintained up to that point, and then they'll just abandon him and walk away with their bag full of dollars. This is really all that is going on within the Nigerian space, and this is effectively what Wole Soyinka is saying in a coded way. Conversations in the comment section. The prof has come out to speak. Now, what says you? Come share thoughts. Who is in charge of Aso Rock? This is the question. You come give me your names, not your personal names, but the names of the people you feel are in charge. But before you do that, click on the red subscribe button so it turns gray. The bell button notifies you every time I drop a new video. Then come tell me now who you feel captains the ship Nigeria in the comment section. So that if you're here, carry this conversation on with you in the comment section. But here, I say peace.